bangs, the bangs, the bangs, the bangs. Hey y'all, what up? It is your boy EJ in the back. I am back, you guys, with another lit reaction, y'all. We are doing what? Who? Y'all know what day it is. It is Sunday, and today we're doing season 1, episode 5, Belly. Y'all, when I tell you this episode of P-Valley was the best episode of P-Valley I've ever seen. Like, it was so much character development. It was so... Ooh, it was so juicy, y'all. So if y'all see me looking down like this, I'm probably just reading a little bit of what I wrote down, y'all, because there was a lot to go over, and this is coming straight off of me watching the episode, so this is fresh on my mind. Alright, y'all, so the first one we're going to go ahead and get into, we're going to get a little bit into Mississippi. So Mississippi is really getting her character development, like, in further episodes. Just go ahead and knock her out. So in the beginning of the episode, we see this lady filming off of her camera. So we kind of get the view from an actual person inside of the club, which is a transgender lady. And so she's filming she's filming Mississippi do her actual dance, y'all. And so she's killing it. So this is from previous. So we already seen the dance, but this is coming from somebody else. And we are introduced to one of the key characters in this actual episode. Like, this time we actually having a key character who is not one of the main cast actually kind of hold the storyline together, which is this lady who ends up being divorced because she's cheated with, and what you do is find out later in the episode, she cheated on her husband with his mother. Ooh, I heard some freaky stuff, y'all, but that's something else, okay? But anyway, so she's in the club, and so she's throwing money at, the strippers, and so she comes in contact with who? Cricket letter, Mississippi, y'all. So, she comes in contact with her. Mississippi's already high off of her, her good performance. So she comes up to her, they're having this conversation. She tells Mississippi how pretty she is, and then all of a sudden she just starts crying, y'all. So I'm like, the bangs. I'm like, what? So she ends up crying to her and basically saying that, her divorce is going, it's in shambles, and that she's in the club spending all her divorce settlement money, in here. So what happens is the lady ends up passing out, y'all. She done drunk too much at the club, and she ends up hitting it hard. So what they do, Gidget and Mississippi end up saying, girl, let's get this bag. They end up taking this lady money. Come to the next day. We see the lady ends up getting, put out by Uncle Clifford. But let's go ahead and go back to Uncle Clifford and my boy Murda, y'all. So as we can see last time that Uncle Clifford and Murda, this is after the whole scene of them getting intimate, and Murda is asleep and Uncle Clifford is up. So now you see Uncle Clifford with all the makeup and without the wigs. You just see him full bare. So he is you can kind of tell he wants something more with Murda, but I think he's a little scared. I think that what they're kind of alluding to is that Uncle Clifford, he is okay with himself being out, but I don't think the love that he wants to give out is going to be something that he fully can give anybody, because I think he's still scared of the things that go on inside of Chuckalisa. So if y'all didn't notice in a little bit later in the episode, when Lil Murda comes in and tells him that he want to take him out, Uncle Clifford is kind of hesitant because he has said, well, what you want to do, take me on a stroll and past the lake? The last two gay men that did that end up floating inside of the lake. He said, well, you want to take me down to the chicken spot and get some wet lemon pepper? He had said the last two lesbian girls had got I can't say that part, y'all, this is YouTube, but they had got sexually violated by some truckers, and he just basically was going on and saying this is what it is. Lil Murda has said, well, no, you need to let me know. Lil Murda was basically telling him that he needs to let him know where he wants him to take him, and that he wants him to call him Marcus, and that he really thinks the relationship between Uncle Clifford and him are going to really work out. So eventually they ends up kissing. And if y'all don't understand, like, usually in my reviews I like to go by characters. So if you see me kind of adding on extra stuff that happened in the episodes, because I think that reviews should be kind of character based. So we end up seeing Mississippi ends up catching Lil Murda, and which his name is Marcus, and Clifford kissing inside of the actual office, because the gate to get back into the club is locked. So she needed him to go ahead and open the gate. But anyway, so let's go back to Mississippi. So y'all, I thought that Mississippi was getting her tail beat by some big black guy at the, which is her boo. We found out this man looked like he a part of the Backstreet Boys. I'm like, no. Thought he was in tearing up my heart when I'm with you. You know, in sync, that's what he was looking like. So I was just like, oh no. I said, so you got with Derek, the little scrawny little white boy, and then go with Diamond? I said, no. Something ain't adding up. So eventually you see Mississippi's kind of getting this big head, y'all. She's getting this really big head over this one real good night. She feels like I feel like now that Mississippi feels like she's kind of top dog. And I think she's kind of getting her power back of, trying to be at top, because y'all didn't really notice. In the beginning of the episode, in the beginning of the season, Mississippi kind of had like a shadow over her that she basically thought she was just pretty, but nothing was kind of going on. But now that you see these people are starting to come and saying, oh my God, like you're so talented and everything, everybody's having so much love for her. Now she's building up that rapport of, being at the top. Because I think that now she feels like Mercedes is leaving. Now that's kind of going to give her a little bit of shine to be the top girl that she wants to be. But I feel like that's coming to bite her in the tail, because Derek is not really happy with that. I don't know what's going to happen when she gets home, because he eventually asks her who's watching the baby while she's doing her dance. She says everybody. I'm a little nervous, y'all. That is what is going on. I feel like they're really dragging. That's the only thing with PValley. They're really dragging out this whole Derek and Mississippi situation, and it's really, I need more of a, like a resolve or some type of episode that's going to be solely based on that, because these are things that needs to be talked about, because these scrippers do get boyfriends who meet them in the club, and then eventually they want them to leave the club, which he basically says. He was like, well, I'm making money and I don't want you working at the club, I want you just staying at home. And that is what's really pissing him off, because she wants to be in the club. Because if he doesn't notice, Mississippi loves the spotlight. Everybody sees it. Like I said in the last episode, she is more of the social media scripper of them all. So she's the one that's always throwing them online, getting all the social media. And you end up seeing one of the girls who was the one that was farting on the club goers, that scripper that was farting on the guys in the club. She was you kind of tell she kind of gets jealous, or maybe she just are a little tired of Mississippi keep talking about it. But that is one of the other issues. So I think that Mississippi may need to go ahead and reel that back on in. But y'all, okay, so like I said, Uncle Clifford, we see that he's still in the club. He ends up letting the lady who was drunk go. Drunk, y'all, get in the car. We're going to get to that in a minute. We get to Autumn. But eventually we see, we cut to the scene where all of the, Diamond, the second man in charge, which always next to Uncle Clifford, and most of the scrippers are outside, and they see the actual foreclosure notice on there, which is basically the whole premise of the whole episode, y'all. We're all focused on this foreclosure that they only have 14 days to get, whatever they need to do, and after that, the bank is going to close. Y'all, that starts a whole frenzy. Uncle Clifford ends up leaving, going down to the actual precinct, where the officer from the sheriff from the first episode is there. They end up talking about it. The sheriff really kind of rubbed me the wrong way. He seemed like he a little racist a little bit, but he don't really care. So if you guys go back to the precinct, you actually get a little bit of insight with Mercedes and Patrice. Y'all, Mercedes and Patrice is really the whole episode, to be honest, if you want to be honest. So let me go ahead and say that for a minute. I'm going to go to Autumn, because Autumn really didn't have that much of a storyline. So in the beginning, you kind of meet up with Autumn. She's at the teller again, y'all. I don't know how many times she thought that she was going to be able to transfer this money. And y'all, what y'all going to realize in this episode is that Autumn keeps transferring all this money. But I'm trying to figure out where this money is coming from, and she's transferring from the man's account, her husband's account. And I'm like, do you not know this man is going to find you for all these bank transfers? Because apparently he's approving them so he can keep up with where you're going. So y'all, that's why y'all are going to be introduced to Autumn's husband in this episode, where he comes to the precinct and basically was looking for his wife. I don't know if maybe he doesn't know that the baby is dead. I think he thinks the baby is there. So we're going to see how that kind of, goes on. But Autumn is trying to, get this money to keep going for these transfers. And she ends up hitting that 10 transfer limit at the tele, and the lady tells her that her account is frozen. So if y'all know her account is frozen, which means that she cannot transfer any more money because they have gave her a limit. It's basically because they knew people were trying to recover for the actual flood, and that's why they gave them a courtesy to basically do 10 transfers to get everything settled and whatever. Y'all, why did she loot Mercedes into? Okay, so she bails Mercedes out, and God, that's why. I feel like she did that for selfish reasons. Why she bailed Mercedes out? One, she bailed her out so her, she can get Mercedes on her side. But two, you did that, and now you're basically having Mercedes join you on this scheme of this transfer fraud. And now that okay, y'all, so at the end of the episode, you're gonna see that Autumn's transfer is pending, and basically, who's at the computer eating crystals? Autumn's husband. So I'm gonna see maybe in these further episodes that this is what's gonna go on in the episodes, that Autumn's husband's gonna pop up at the club and he's gonna see that, and that's gonna cause a whole bunch of issues. I can already see that. Y'all, okay, so the next one, we're gonna say Miss Patrice and Mercedes for the end, because that whole character arc was the majority of the whole episode. So if we wanna go ahead and talk about Uncle Clifford, and you want to talk about the mayor, I don't know what is the real issue between the mayor and Uncle Clifford. I think that Uncle Clifford and the mayor had, like I've been saying these last couple episodes, and I don't know if they keep, maybe the mayor was the one that was beating Clifford's tail. I'm really thinking about it, because it just don't make no sense. Like, I ain't never seen a mayor just want to get rid of a strip club that the whole club, like the whole town loves the club. But all of a sudden, like, you keep trying to get rid of the club that, this one specific person owns, and you keep trying to, make Uncle Clifford feel bad for, him, basically expressing who he actually is. And I don't know if he hates that or if he feels some type of way, but I feel like the mayor and Uncle Clifford had something going on before, and that's probably, I think that he's the one that was beating Uncle Clifford up real bad, and they just not alluding to it, but I can already see that, because something right there is something fishy. So he comes and tells him that he will let the people know that you're basically having them sell for cheaper than what they're actually worth. He has the paperwork, which has you see Andre and the mayor and Uncle Clifford in one scene, which has they kind of have the mayor a little shook, y'all. But basically, Andre and the mayor are in the car, and he had basically was trying to question Andre, how did the mayor get this information? Andre trying to lie through his teeth, y'all. He don't want to tell the mayor that he done got bamboozled by Autumn, and that he done fell for a stripper. And that's pretty much as we see as Andre. He basically threatened him to basically say that, hey, you need to go ahead and finish this deal with those Cow brothers about their farm, so we can go ahead and get that land for the P-Valley, because he wants to end that stuff now. He said, if you don't do it, I'm going to do it. And basically, that was kind of the end. I guess we don't really get that much character development with Andre, because we was getting so much in the previous episode. They're probably going to save that a little bit for the mid-season, probably 7, 8, down the line. So, let's see, anybody else? Oh, we can talk about Gidget. Gidget, actually, those pills that Gidget got from her previous boyfriend, the one that came to sell us the drugs at the P-Valley, he ends up, the reason that she got those pills is for her mother. Her mother, she puts it in her mom's smoothies, I guess. So, but we really didn't get a lot of information, but we see that Mercedes ends up calling Gidget so she can get her out of jail, which is kind of good. But at that point, you and Gidget probably didn't, already have no conversation or anything to, kind of basically, want her to get you out of jail. But thank God she did, because what happens is Gidget get all the scripters together, and they ends up, trying to band together and get $2,000. But then when they get to the bail bondsman, and he ends up telling him that the bail bondsman ends up telling her that Mercedes has all these parking tickets and these movement violations and all the things that racked up to $5,000 in her bail. So they don't have the money. They most of the strippers leave, which leaves Autumn and Gidget to talk, and that's how Autumn ends up bailing Mercedes out of jail. So if y'all want to go to the beginning, we ends up seeing Mercedes, and this is right after the fact. Mercedes and Patrice are on the news, basically saying Pastor gets beat up by exotic dancer. Y'all, they played that thing out. So we was in there, we was up in the jail cell for a minute. So like I said, we see the man from episode 1, Jesse, the one she took the wallet from in the church. He's the one of the officers at the jail. He ends up the phone actually not working, so Mercedes and nobody else can do a phone call. He ends up taking forever to book Mercedes in, giving her the little fingers, the fingerprints Also, we do see that the lady who was drunk in the club before, she ends up almost running into the actual teller when Autumn and the lady who tells her that her account is frozen, and they end up almost getting hit, but she ends up not hitting them, going towards the officer, end up arresting them, and she's humming Lil Murda song, which has Mercedes asked, "Hey, whose song is that?" She had said she was like, "Lil Murda." And then so he ends up putting Mercedes in the jail. We see that it's a transgender that's in the actual jail, but he put her inside of the male's jail cell because I think that she just wasn't passable enough to be in the female one, even though she did look a little passable. But if y'all don't know what passable is basically when you're a transgender and you basically look when you don't have that many male features and you kind of have more of a feminine face, that you can pass a lot easier for a woman than somebody that looks more structurally like a man. So he had told the transgender lady that, that is God's decision. Basically, like, I'm not going to put you in no female thing because you don't look too much like a female to him. So anyways, he ends up putting Patrice, and y'all know I don't like Patrice. He ends up putting Patrice and he ends up putting Mercedes in the same jail cell. When I tell you Mercedes saw Miss Patrice, she ends up beating Miss Patrice's tail. That was only for like a split second till they end up splitting them up. We also see another transgender in there, and he ends up letting her stay in there because she's passable, and so she was able to actually be in there because she sounded a little more like a female than the other one. She ends up tearing Miss Patrice up. Like I said, it looks like that Jesse kind of does whatever he wants at the jail, and this is kind of what everybody says. He ended up threatening most of the ladies in there, saying that he would add on more charges to everybody's account if they don't basically get in line, y'all. So that goes on for a minute. Now, mind you, they ain't try to give Mercedes no type of jumpsuit, no nothing to cover up. They basically got her in the bra and panties on for what she had on. She was finna script at the club. Y'all, everybody judging her. The men's come in there. Well, man was in there jacking off to Miss Mercedes, y'all. I was like, no. But that's how they get down in that club. And Jesse's still mad at Mercedes because she still didn't give him his wallet back from the church. So we have this whole scene with Patrice and Mercedes, and they're going back and forth. Basically, you kind of get the gist that Mercedes didn't have a good childhood because Miss Patrice used to be a goddamn pimp. Okay, let's go ahead and call a thing. Because Miss Patrice used to be a pimp. She used to have Mercedes with bills in her name. Mercedes can basically get a childhood. And Mercedes ends up talking to Uncle Clifford. Uncle Clifford ends up finding out that she's in jail and tells the sheriff to let her see Mercedes. And you can tell they have a beautiful connection together. And then Miss Patrice ended up saying something to Clifford, and Clifford was not here for it. So he had said, "Bitch, don't come for me unless I send for you." And Patrice ended up feeling some type of way, and Mercedes told her that she's been more of a mother to me than you have ever been. And then this has been when Miss Patrice ends up saying that thing was more of a mother than you than I was. And I was like, hell yeah. And I'm like, you want to call a spade a spade? Hell yeah. Y'all, so they end up getting into it. Mercedes ended up telling her that all you did was try to pimp me out as a little kid. You wasn't there for me and everything else. You can kind of see like the development that they need to really kind of speak all this out. And y'all cut through all the bull crap. So eventually everybody was kind of mad at Mercedes because Mercedes was beating up on her mama. Then when they figure out that Mercedes had reasons for all this information, that she's trying to turn her life around because she's trying to get Terica from the actual mom. But y'all, what y'all don't realize is that Mercedes was sleeping with a married man, which is Terica's mom's husband. And that's the reason, and it looks like that she wasn't stable enough to actually get the baby. So it looks like either Terica fought to get custody of the baby. And, I mean, not Terica, but the mama had fought to get custody of the Terica. It looked like that the mom can basically have children, so she took the baby from Mercedes. And that's why the baby lives over there with her. And the reason that Mercedes wanted to open up this gym is so she can have stable income so she can get this baby back. Also, y'all, what I forgot to tell y'all about Autumn and Mercedes is that basically she ends up giving a little bit of information about what happened with her and her child, that basically, you know, you see that the baby ended up dying in the water, and that's the reason she kind of quit the drinking, because basically I think either she was drinking while she was out in the water, and that's why when the flood came, she wasn't able to basically get the baby, and she was looking for the baby for 3 days and 3 nights, and then that's when the suitcase all happened. So you kind of get the backstory of why all of this stuff happened in season 1, in episode 1. Y'all, it was so good, y'all. It's so many different things that was going on inside of this review, y'all. But I'm gonna end the review right here, y'all, because I don't want to spoil any more of the episode, y'all. The episode was so good. I just basically give y'all like a brief recap of what's going on, y'all. But when I tell y'all, episode 5 is the best episode of P-Valley I've ever seen in my life. Y'all, it was so good from top to bottom, you guys. Oh, funny thing. So, basically, the bail bondsman is basically, when the girls are trying to get Mercedes out of jail, he basically tells them to either y'all can put y'all house up or y'all can put y'all pussies up. And I'm like, oh my God. No. At this point, no. You see Gidget throw a shoe at them, and that's pretty much the end of the episode, y'all. So it's funny episodes inside of the actual review. Like I said, Mississippi ends up seeing Uncle Clifford. This is all stuff that really happened at the end, just in case I need to reiterate. So she ends up seeing them kissing, and then so Uncle Clifford offers to go talk to her, but no, Murda said he's gonna talk to her. So I guess we're gonna see about what happens there in the next episode. Like I said, all them husbands end up seeing the transfer, so we're gonna see if maybe that's gonna happen there again. Y'all, we're gonna see what's gonna happen. And like I said, Miss Patrice is a pimp from the OG days, honey. She said she was on her knees, so Mercedes didn't have to, so she's been out here living them life. And I don't like Miss Patrice, but she good at what she do, y'all, because she can turn a room that hate her into a room that love her, because she can pass her way on. But y'all, that was the end of my P-Valley review, y'all. It was real short, simple, and sweet. But y'all, thank y'all so much for watching my video and my reviews, y'all. I will be back next Sunday. See y'all later. Peace.